he saw her again, but now he knew that nothing had changed. He had wanted to punish her for the hurt and disappointment she had inflicted upon him, but all he could see now was that Diana was as wonderful as ever, and he responded, as ever, to the imperious, arrogant set of her small head, the richly luxuriant coffee-coloured hair curled fashionably into a fat chignon at the nape of her long neck, the tall, slender frame that seemed to throb with energy, the pleats in her rich silk skirt moving gently, hinting at the restlessness of the long legs beneath. Such wonderful legs! For a moment he was distracted by a memory of her naked body hovering above him, her legs scissoring his thighs. He stepped forward out of the shadows. "Good morning, Diana." He rested his elbows on the gilded railing as he looked down. Diana Sommerville's head jerked upward. She stared at the figure standing on the galleried landing. "You? What in the devil's name are you doing in my house?" Her eyes were purple fire, her complexion ashen, as she stared in bewildered fury at the man she had hoped never to encounter again. He was wearing a brocade dressing gown, the tie accentuating the slim waist, and his copper curls fell in that familiar, unruly tangle on his brow. He had just got out of bed. In her house. It made no sense. He couldn't possibly be here, the man she had sworn never to speak to again. And yet he was, just as if time had slipped away, and it was as it always had been, in the days when Rupert Lacey was as welcome on Sommerville property as the Sommerville children themselves. "Get out!" she demanded. "Now!" But to her frustrated bewilderment, she could hear the futility of the demand. She was no physical match for him, and if he wouldn't go, she couldn't wrestle him out of the door. But why was he here? Rupert cursed silently. So, she didn't know what had happened. How the hell was he to handle this? "I said, get out of my house," Diana repeated, ignoring the sense of futility, even as she wondered why he wasn't saying anything. If anything, he looked vaguely discomfited, not an expression she would ordinarily associate with Colonel Lacey. "I have no idea how you got in, or why you're here, but you are trespassing." Rupert sighed. Explaining the situation to Diana in full combat mode was not something he wanted to do. "As it happens, Diana, I am not trespassing. I assume you have not yet visited Muldoon." "Muldoon? The solicitor?" She looked even more bemused. "What has he to do with your breaking and entering my house?" "A great deal, as it happens," he said dryly, beginning to descend the stairs. "Not that I did either of those things." The two dogs, who had been sitting alert but quiet at Diana's heels, growled in unison, a deep and threatening sound. Rupert blinked in surprise. He and the dogs were old friends. Nevertheless, he took a step back to the gallery. Diana's hostility was enough to provoke their instincts to defend her, even against someone they had known since they were puppies. Diana laid a hand on each dog's head, saying softly, "Here, Hercules." They subsided, but their eyes never left Rupert, and the muscles rippled beneath their sleek coats, their long bodies still very much on the alert. Rupert decided to take the coward's way out and let a professional handle the situation. Sometimes discretion was indeed the better part of valour. "When did you arrive in England, Diana?"
"Yesterday evening, as it happens. But I fail to see what that has to do with your illegal presence in my house."
Her eyes challenged him in a way that was achingly familiar, but he resisted his usual response to meet and match the challenge. This was neither the time nor the occasion for the old ways. There'd be opportunity enough later, he was sure of it. "Muldoon will explain it to you, Diana. I suggest you visit him at once. I know you won't listen to me, but you will listen to him." Diana turned away from him, her gaze sweeping the mountain of luggage, as if somehow its very presence could make sense of this impossible, unbelievable situation.